What's up, everyone? Jake Blaine here with Apocalypse, and welcome to my overall geek list for 2018. Now, I'm going to be taking time to be ranking the geek movies of 2018 in this following video. I'm very much excited to talk about these movies. We had 12 of them this past year, and all of them in their outright had really good things about them. But obviously, I can't love all of them the same, so I'm going to be ranking them from 12 to 1, with the 12 and 11 spot being honorable mentions, if you will. And so let's get started with those. At my number 12 spot, and I may get some hate for this, but is it Venom? This movie obviously didn't receive a ton of critical acclaim, but fans everywhere loved it. Now, for me personally, the only part I really enjoyed about this movie was the relationship between Eddie and Venom. And for the most part, that is why I stayed interested in the movie. Other than that, I was kind of bummed. I was disappointed. Not that I had huge expectations going into it, but I had somewhat of a little expectation in there. And now they just announced a sequel. We'll see where that goes, especially since they are looking for a brand new director. And so from number 12, we're going to talk about number 11, which is Deadpool 2. Now, this may become to a lot of surprise to a lot of you. But yeah, I mean, the sequel for me, a lot of it was a rehash in a way, and not in Deadpool in a sense and some other characters, just the kind of way it felt. Didn't feel like anything new or fresh, and which is why I kind of lost interest a little bit through it. I very much like Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool. I thought Josh Brolin's Cable was awesome. Zazie Beetz, Domino, Juggernaut in there as well. There were some really cool things. The action, because of David Leitch, director, fantastic. But some of the comedy bits, just a little bit of a bummer. And, you know, it just, again, it felt a little bit like a rehash to me. So moving on to number 10, the official list of my 2018 geek movies, I have Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. Now, I'm not your gigantic Harry Potter fan, but I very much love the movies. I think that they're great. I think J.K. Rowling and the world she has created is fantastic. The following that they have is phenomenal. It's unlike anything we've ever seen. It's very similar to Star Wars. But for me, this movie fell short because I love the original so much. I really enjoyed Where to Find Them and what Eddie Redmayne and his new Scamander brought to that. And I understand that these movies are being crafted to be a kind of Dumbledore versus Grindelwald prequel, if you will, with Jude Law and Johnny Depp. And this movie definitely gives you that aspect, and it teases that for you, but that's the issue for me. It very much felt like a setup movie for what's coming. And while a lot of people did like that, I was bummed. Because I like every individual movie to focus on themselves as well, which is what the original Harry Potter movies did so well. I still like the uniqueness to it. I like the different vibe and feel of the different era. And it's still something that this franchise definitely has going forward. I just hope that they kind of focus on every single movie at this point, because we now know what's going to happen. We now know kind of what is going to unfold. And so hopefully it'll end up leading to that. But number 10, I have Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald. In at number 9 for me is Ant-Man and the Wasp. Now, I'll say this right away. When July came around, we saw this movie. I thoroughly loved this movie. I thought it was going to be one of my favorite comic book movies of the year. I loved everything about it. I thought it surpassed the original movie for me. The comedy bits, they were definitely on par with the first one, if not better. Evangeline Lilly's Wasp finally showed up, and she was fantastic. She was awesome in every sense of the word. And so I thought this movie was going to kill it and be there at the end of the year. It ranks it at number 9, not because I didn't like the movie, but simply because there's a lot of stuff behind it, in front of it that I just enjoyed more. And I'll talk about those movies as I go on. But look, the action is awesome, the comedy is awesome. Paul Rudd's friend group is great as he was in the first one. I just felt like Paul Rudd's Scott Lang wasn't used as well as I probably hoped he would have been, specifically in the action. He kind of felt like he was just there, which is a big bummer, obviously. And so, for me, at number 9 is Ant-Man and the Wasp. Number 8 is going to be the biggest surprise on my list, and it's probably going to shock a lot of people and receive a lot of comments down below for this one. But I have Black Panther. Now, don't hate me before I say everything, but for me personally, look, I pretty much like everything on my top 10 list. Like, there's a lot of stuff that I love about every one of these movies. I just like everything above Black Panther a little bit more. And I think it's one of the best MCU movies ever made. It ranks high up on that list for me, and we did our rankings last year, and it ended up that high. It's just, for me personally, some of the mistakes or missteps, I'll say rather, took a little bit higher of a note than maybe some other people. A la the CGI in some of the fight scenes. The fight scenes themselves, there wasn't a vast majority of them. I thought the performances were fantastic. I think the film scope and size and look of it all is definitely worth everything it's getting as far as recognition goes. And you know, the culture and everything, obviously, like that goes without being unsaid. But for me personally, I go in there to these type of movies looking for a specific thing, and it just didn't hit that note on those aspects. And so for me, it just fell down a little bit as the year went on. But that's not to say that I don't love the movie, because I do, and I could watch it on any point in time. And so for me at number 8, I do have Black Panther. Number 7, I have the first official spin-off to the Transformers franchise, Bumblebee. Look, I was completely washed off, forgotten, just dismissed the Transformers franchise after the last 2 movies. And I'll be honest, like, I didn't have huge expectations before the day this movie came out. I was looking forward to it. I loved the trailers that were kind of showing and the footage that was being released. And so I had expectations for it. I had anticipation. But the second that day hit, I was like, wow, I'm actually looking forward to this movie a lot. And I'll be honest, it hit those notes quite a bit. The only issue is, similar to what I had with Black Panther, there wasn't enough action. There was something in the beginning of the movie. There was something at the end of the movie. In between was kind of just like a coming-of-age story, and I get that. That's what they were going for, and I appreciate that, and I give all the credit in the world for them to do it and try it. I just want a little bit more from it, because the action that was involved was phenomenal. It was awesome. It's everything I want from a Transformers movie. Just that one small piece of not having enough action is what knocks it down on me, on my list rather. And so at number 7, I do have Bumblebee, but that is not to say that I cannot watch this movie any given day. Now, I said Black Panther is going to be the huge surprise at the number 8 spot. Now, the number 6 spot could be, rivaling that spot. It is Tomb Raider. Now, look, I'll probably get hate for saying this. I love this movie. I think it is awesome. It may be because I'm a follower of Alicia Vikander and her work. I think she's one of the greatest actresses in this era as far as performance goes. I think that the movie overall, for myself, I didn't have huge expectations, which play into my love for it. Now, I went in with a gigantic open mind. I was looking forward. I thought the trailers looked great. I was like, yeah, like we're gonna have some fun with this one. Comes out in March. I'm not looking forward to it too much because I know what kind to expect with it. And it hit all those notes for me. I think the action is awesome. I thought the story was good enough to get by. I thought the performances were great. I raved about this movie saying that it deserves a sequel, even though it didn't make a ton of money. Whether or not it's going to happen, I'm not sure, but for this one, for what it is, I absolutely love it, and it totally deserves that number 6 spot on my list. Cracking number 5 on my list possibly could be the greatest animated superhero movie ever made. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Now, back in 2017, we were doing our anticipation list, and we were talking about what's coming out, what are we looking forward to. We all thought this movie was going to be a joke. We thought it was a ploy for Sony to get Spider-Man back, to kind of get their name in the ring and everything like that. This is far from that. This movie is everything. It is absolutely amazing from start to finish. It creates this character of Miles Morales so well with the world around him, including family and other heroes and characters. It uses that multiverse aspect so well, probably better than we've ever seen on film. And so while we were waiting to see Miles Morales on live action, while we were kind of waiting to see, all of these other characters on live action screens, this is just as good. I am totally happy with seeing this universe flesh out. A Peter B. Parker movie, a Gwen Stacy, a Spider-Man Noir, Spider-Pig. I want to see all these characters get their own movies. I would totally go there, especially the way it's made. It's so unique and different, which is what it makes it so loving. And so Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse deserves everything it's going to get this award season, as well as all these notches on the list, because I have no doubt that if all of us were going to do a list like this, we would have it this high. So cracking my top 5 on my list is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. Number 4 on my list is by far the biggest surprise for me personally. It is Aquaman. Now, I think everyone who follows us here at Apocalypse and who is involved with us here at Apocalypse, like my team members, they know that I have been very discouraged with the way the DCEU has been handled at this point. I think that the way that the filmmakers and studio have handled the universe and the characters and the stories has been a complete misstep. But for me personally, and Wonder Woman, obviously a great step in that direction. Like, that was the first sign of like, wow, they're finally kind of figuring it out, right? Aquaman is the one I'm like, okay, they're locking in. They're finally letting filmmakers do their thing. They're understanding what they need to do as a studio for this universe. I love this movie. It is such a good time, and it may be because I didn't have the highest expectations. It may be because I'm just looking for a gigantic action movie that has a lot of fun and some heart and visuals and colors. That's exactly that. But it's also, for me personally, because I enjoy the character of Aquaman in general. He is one of my favorite comic book characters ever, and I've been waiting for this moment. And while I didn't agree with the casting of Jason Momoa at first, I love the decision to do it. James Wan captured exactly what we were looking for and hoping for with this movie, and it crushes it. It knocks it out of the park. Everything about this movie is great in my opinion, and I could watch it on a daily basis. And I can't wait to go see it again in theaters because I've been waiting for that chance, and hopefully I get that chance. But sitting at number 4 on my top 10 list for 2018 Geek movies is Aquaman. Alright, we're getting down to the wire here. We have number 3 on my list, and I can't go on this list without talking about a Star Wars movie. I have Solo, a Star Wars movie. Now, this movie obviously had a ton of issues going into its release. The stuff behind the scenes, the director change, the marketing approach, all of it was supposed to be just terrible, and the movie was supposed to be flat out bad. And to me, it wasn't flat out bad. It wasn't bad at all in my opinion. I had a ton of good time watching this movie. I thought it brought back the fun vibe of Star Wars, that almost kiddie adventure-ness. And I thought Ron Howard stepping in late and kind of, doing what he can with it did a fantastic job of creating a story and characters that we were interested in, while connecting a little bit of canon bits there as well. Alden Ehrenreich, for all that was said about him beforehand, did a fantastic job as Han Solo. A very different and younger Han Solo, so you cannot compare him to Harrison Ford in my opinion. Just leave that alone for right now. But yeah, I mean, Solo Star Wars movie is a Star Wars movie that, out of the 4 ones that are released, it rivals that 2 spot for me. It really does. Like, I have a ton of fun watching this, which is why it deserves and will hold that number 3 spot on my list for this year. All right, we got 2 left, and as soon as I say my number 2, you're gonna know what my number 1 is, and you probably already do. But for number 2, I have Ready Player One. Now, some of you may complain that this isn't a geek movie. This is probably the geekiest movie of the year. Like, this is filled with geek culture and pop culture, so it is without a doubt a geek movie. This is look, I don't have any references to the book. I don't know really what it was about going in. I saw the trailers. I read about the stories. I thought Ty Sheridan did a fantastic job as the character of Wade Watts. Olivia Cook as his co-lead. I think she is one of the most up-and-coming bright stars in this world. The Oasis is just beautiful and fun and just a interesting world to look at. Whether they do a sequel, I don't really care, because Steven Spielberg captured exactly what I was hoping for with this movie. That end battle, like, are you kidding me? The Iron Giant, Mechagodzilla, like, there's so many things to love. There's a DeLorean through the entire movie. There's so many things to love about it and just enjoy and have fun with, which is exactly what you're hoping for with the geek movie. And so the number 2 spot is perfect for Ready Player One. Honestly, if the number 1 movie wasn't coming out this past year and it didn't come out, it would easily be my number 1. But because the number 1 movie did, it did. But yeah, Ready Player One sitting in my number 2 spot. Definitely a deserving spot for that one. Well, we got down to the wire, and we obviously know what the number 1 movie of the geek movie of the year is. That is Avengers: Infinity War. What else can I say about this movie? It has everything that all of us nerds and geeks want. We've all been connected to this universe for years, and it's kind of the moment we've been waiting for. Thanos has been teased and teased and teased, and Josh Brolin delivered hard on this one with the Russo brothers backing him as directors. It brings together this universe slowly, and we'll see it come together fully in Avengers Endgame, but this movie delivered on every beat possible, and it's something that truly may not ever be touched again as far as capacity. And whether DC does something like this, or Marvel does it with something down the line, this is a true feat. This is something that will be done once in a lifetime, and I am very happy to see it in my lifetime. I'm very happy that it's successful, and so that number 1 spot easily goes to Avengers: Infinity War, but could easily be topped by what's coming this year as well. Well, there you have it, guys. My 2018 Geek movie rankings. Yeah, I mean, I went through 12 through 1. You saw my top 10. You saw my honorable mentions. But like I said in the beginning of this video, there's moments about every one of these movies that I could pop on anytime and have a good time with, whether or not it's a 12 spot or a 1 spot, right? These geek movies, they have been building and building and building, and they all have become something really, really good over the last couple of years, and I'm excited to see what 2019 has to offer. But for my 2018 list. Head down in the comments. Let me know what you think of my rankings. Where would you place these movies? Do you like the spots I have some of these movies, or do you not like some of the spots? Head down there, leave some thoughts, and I will definitely get back to you. This is one of the videos that I would gladly to talk about afterwards. And so also head to apocalypsemovies.com, this YouTube channel, and of course, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Can't thank you guys enough for all the support. Look out for our anticipation videos as well, which are coming out next week. We're going to be talking about all those 2019 movies, and we're very excited to do that. So again, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you guys next time.